Good morning, everybody. Thursday morning, and we're now just a week out from Christmas Eve. It's good to be able to be with you this morning, and I hope you're keeping safe and well. I know the news out there is not great in terms of restrictions and everything that is swirling around us at the moment in terms of all the things we're trying to get our heads around. But I trust that these devotions this Advent will help you as you focus in on what Christmas is all about. Our nativity service and carol service are planned for this Sunday evening, and we have a number of little special things planned for that, so I encourage you to either come along in person in church or to watch online. We'd love to have you join us for one or other of those services. Reminder again to send in any pictures of your lights, Christmas tree lights, outside lights, whatever it might be, and we'll try and put those together for our morning service. We're following through Matthew's account of the birth of Jesus, and we're going to read from Matthew chapter 2 this morning, and verses 1 to 12. Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for it is written by the prophet, and you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. From you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod summoned the wise men secretly and ascertained from them what time the star had appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child. When you have found him, bring me word, so that I too may come and worship him." After listening to the king, they went on their way, and behold, the star that they had seen when it rose went before them, until it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way. On the 21st of December this year, that's next Monday, in the evening, we're told by papers and astronomers and various people that if you look in the sky, if it's a reasonably clear night, if you look in the southwestern sky towards the lowest point on the horizon, sometime in about the hour or so just after sunset, so about 4:30, 5:30 in the afternoon, you will see a sight in the sky which doesn't happen very often. The two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, are coming very close to each other, so close that they will appear as one single bright light in the sky. Doesn't happen very often, and the last time we're told they have been this close in the sky was in the 1200s. Why am I telling you this? Well, because astronomers understand that this happened 3 times. Jupiter and Saturn coming together happened 3 times in around about 7 BC. A lot of people believe that this may have been the star that the wise men saw that rose in the western sky and that led them to Jerusalem. Well, why would it lead them to Jerusalem? Well, in their understanding of things, Jerusalem, or Jupiter rather, was the royal planet, and Saturn in their day was recognized as the planet that represented Israel. So when Jupiter and Saturn are conjoined like that or brought together like that, the obvious, from their point of view, understanding is a king in Israel. And so that's where they go to find out if that's the case. Jesus attracts worship and opposition and apathy, and we see it all in the story of the wise men, of the Magi. We see the opposition, of course, from Herod, and we'll think a little bit more about that tomorrow. But here we have a king who is troubled at the news of Jesus' birth. He is clinging to position and power. He's only in position and power because he's backed by the Roman Empire. And he's afraid of being found out as a fraud, as not being a legitimate king of Israel. And he's unwilling to recognize any authority other than himself. Herod is the classic example of someone who seeks self and self-promotion and all of the things to do with self-aggrandizement. Seeks all of those things over doing what is right and recognizing the authority of God when he hears it. But then you also have apathy, because there are some people who respond to the news of Jesus as going, right, okay, makes no difference to their lives. The religious scholars, the people in Herod's court who surrounded him, demonstrate that in a major way. They know the right answers to the questions. Herod calls them in and they say, yep, King of the Jews, born in Bethlehem. That's what Micah said hundreds of years ago. They know the right answers, but they don't act on it. They don't join the wise men and go to worship this new king. They have head knowledge. They understand the truth, but they refuse to act on it. It doesn't lead them to worship. They would rather keep their place in Herod's court and acknowledge the truth and acknowledge the true King of Israel. They would rather put their own livelihoods, their own reputations, if you like, first than commit themselves to this new king and commit themselves to Jesus. There is still opposition in the world to Jesus Christ and the gospel. There is still apathy in the world. Those are things that we confront every day in the media, in our own relationships with friends and family members and whoever. Those are the two responses of the world, either outright opposition or just, I don't care. But then there is the response of the wise men. There is worship. When the wise men see the signs in the sky, they act on them. When they discover the child in the manger, they are overcome with joy at the sight. And these important, wealthy, and wise men bow the knee before the child in front of them. They bring their gifts to acknowledge who this child is and what he will accomplish. Gold because they recognize his authority and his kingship, and that is the appropriate gift for a royal person. Frankincense because they understand that more than just being a king, and heavenly signs have pointed to this, this is God himself. Incense is used in worship of God. And so they recognize that this child is more than just an ordinary human king like all those who have gone before him. This child is unique. This child is God in human flesh. And myrrh, because this child has come to save and will do so by his death for others. Myrrh, the embalming ointment that is used for dead bodies. This child will die that others might live, will submit himself to death so that we might be set free from sin and death. This is the child they worshipped, and this is who we worship at Christmas time. So whether you're able to gather together, whether you're not able to be with family and friends that you would normally be with, this is the center of our Christmas. This is who we worship. The child, the King, God incarnate, who came to die for our salvation. God bless.